And hello, everybody. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Believe it or not, here we are again for number 18, Native American Myths and Legends, and my co-host, David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers. What a great day. What do you think of that?
Greetings and blessings. We always say thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. And so greetings. Have a great evening. And hope everyone is doing fine.
Well, thank you much. I love that one. And we got people piling in already. Susie Q and Chloe's in the house. We'll get a lot of other people. Everybody's over at Ryder's show right now. Listen to Raised by Giants. If you haven't checked out Ryder, he has a great show. And, so go take a little time, go check Ryder out. He's got some fantastic guests. Sometimes we get him on here, so be prepared. But you know what? We don't worry about that because we got the best show on Tuesday night at 9:00 that you ever did see. We got all kinds of things going. I got stories. Girls, are you going to love this tonight?
Like I ever did see.
Yeah, but anyhow, girls. Tonight, I'm talking about women. Women, yes, women. Indian women. So that's our subject tonight. Indian women. Okay. Oh boy is right, huh?
I was going to say, whoa, man, because when men, after Eve was created, they all went, oh, woe is men.
Oh, woe is men.
Anyway, I should hate women after all the divorces I've been through.
Yeah.
After trying to be, a good person and a good mate and seeking the divine. Oh, well.
Yes, exactly. All right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is out of that same book, the Lifetime book, which is a really good book. So if you ever get a chance to pick up one of those Lifetime books, Desert Rose is in the house. Hello, Desert Rose. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for coming. Girls, you're going to love this. This is a really good one. I picked out a good spot. This really amazed me. It says, so here we're going to start out because we got a lot to cover tonight. And I hope you're all doing well and in good spirits. And if you ain't watching it on live, you're watching it some other time. Oh, I don't know why this is all messed up on the thing, but best I can. Anyway, you'll enjoy it whenever you get time to enjoy it. Anyway, starting out, we're talking about women. Okay, one source of moral and physical support for a Cheyenne woman was a general practice among married couples of living near the wife's parents. And I guess that means the man has a mother-in-law. Thus, the wife always had more near relatives to aid or defend her than he did. Another source of power was the Cheyenne woman's contribution to the social prestige of her family. A good family had many horses. The man at the head of it all was a good hunter and possessed many war honors. But the woman of the lodge had to be a proper woman and a fine housekeeper. She had to keep plenty of parflex, rawhide bags filled with dried meat and other provisions. She had to be skillful in making of clothes and of gear for horses. And in the methods of decorating these items, she had to rear mannerly children, respectful to their elders, and well-trained in the Cheyenne way of life. The Sioux were equally concerned with the matter of family rank. A Sioux chief named Red Cloud became one of the best military tacticians and strategists among the Western Indians, and was at the time a brilliant diplomat at councils with the whites. Yet he came from a modest family background, and the Sioux never gave him the respect he would have received had he been the son of an important family. Women ordinarily left warring and raiding. Oh, they they left warring and raiding expeditions to the men, but they might have help defend their own camps, accompany a war party to cook and hold the horses, or go to a nearby battleground to strip the enemy dead and carry home the loot. Among the Utes, women who had participated in raids danced their own particular war dance in full regalia. The limping, labored step of the dance symbolized the carrying home of captured enemy property. In some exceptional cases, women actually became outstanding warriors. I know you girls want to hear that. A certain gross ventre girl, for example, was taken prisoner by the Crows. When about 10 years old, she soon displayed a love of horses and boys' sports, and her captor allowed her to guard his horses and practice with a bow. The girl grew up to be a fearless rider and marksman and hunter. A raiding party of Blackfeet attacked her Crow band one day as they were camped near a trading post. They lost several men, but managed to get safely into the post. 5 Blackfeet out of gun range signaled for a parley. None of the Crow men or white traders would go out to meet them, but Gross Ventre woman rode out, well armed to see what they wanted. The 5 attacked her in clear view of the fort. She killed one with her gun and wounded the 2 others with arrows. The remaining 2 fled. She came back into the fort with shouts of praise, and from then on was called Woman Chief. Years later, Woman Chief led a group of male warriors against Blackfeet, taking 70 horses and 2 scalps. After this, she was permitted to sit in Crow war councils. She led many raids and defended Crow country, even against her own people. The Gross Ventre, in the warrior center ceremony, in which men would strike a post and publicly recount their brave acts, she would tell of more coups than most of them. You know what a couping is, as we talked about that many times. Crow men held her in reverence, but would not court her, such a formidable woman. When her foster father died, she took his lodge and family, acting as both mother and father. And ranking hunter and warrior, she demanded the privilege of a man, including the privilege of marriage. Eventually, she married 4 women to tan her robes and perform the many domestic duties of her lodge. That was work unsuited to a warrior. Woman Chief became a living legend among the Crows. Finally, the tribe made an uncertain and tentative peace with the Gross Ventres in 1851, and 3 years later, she made a pilgrimage to them. Upon recognizing her, their scourge for many years, they treacherously killed her, never realizing that she was trying to visit her own people. Other instances of warrior women have been recorded, but all are exemptions to the rule. Normally, women gave most of their time domestic chores, the needs of their families, and social functions of the camp life. The gathering of wild plants was one of the more arduous tasks, but the women assumed it proudly, and mature women was a storehouse of knowledge about a vast array of useful plants, which could be used for dyes, incense, or medicine, for smoking alone or mixed with tobacco, and more important, for food. So what do you think of that?
Ain't that something, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Let's skip over to this. A Cheyenne's woman achievements in decorative craft were valued as highly as a man's deeds in war, and a woman described the objects she had adorned and proudly as a man recited his deeds of battle. Women of special accomplishment formed special associations, most notably the Quillers Society. This was an exclusive group, half sorority, half sewing circle, that ceremoniously performed the sacred task of decorating leather with porcupine or bird quills. Yeah. So anyway, Let's see. Skip over. Okay, well, I hope you guys learned something about women. And we're gonna move on to the next one. I got 3 books here, 4 books today to go through with different ones I picked out. Oh, this one's gonna be good. This one's from. Oh, this is Storytelling in the Arctic. If you haven't seen, this is from The Mythology of the North American, John Burkhorst. I think that's how it's said. This is since we don't go to the Arctic much, but it feels like the Arctic because it's the middle of winter, you know, or it's wintry time. I thought this would be one of those things, and it kind of was kind of cool because if you live in the Arctic and you're an Indian, what are you going to do all day? So, as it begins, if myths are, it's called Shortening the Night. If myths offered the Northwest coast a means of advancing one's social position among the Eskimos, they served the purpose of killing time. Before the days of satellite TV, stories were needed if for no other reason than to help fill the endless winter nights. Remember, if you're in the Arctic, it can be winter 24 hours a day, or it can be summer 24 hours a day, either or. Makes for a long night. At its best, this eminently practical approach to storytelling gave rise to a secular entertainment industry unexcelled by any other Native American culture. Only among the Pueblos and perhaps the Iroquois was the art of fiction so highly developed, and only in the Southwest did music play so a great role. The other side of the coin is that the storytelling was widely used as a sporific during the long night. While telling stories, net-slick grandmothers cultivated a monstrous voice so that the children would fall asleep more quickly. In Greenland, where professional storytellers lived throughout the winter by their art, the narrator's greatest triumph was to get his listeners to douse. Before the beginning, his masterpiece, he would proudly announce, "No one has ever heard the story to the end." The custom of getting through the winter with the help of stories was no doubt widespread in far north, extending to the subarctic, the Athapakian tribes. I heard this word before, so now I can't say it. Athapakian tribes in the Koyukon households. People used to get into their beds and pull up the covers before the narrator started. In total darkness, the lamp had been put out. The storyteller would recite tale after tale, ending each one with formatic expression. I have chewed off a good bit of the winter. During the telling, there would be a running complimentary of exclamations, groans, laughter, comparable to the response of an audience in the darkened theater. So I thought that was really interesting because we tell a lot of stories here, and I mean, apparently they had to too. Let's see. Oh, so then we get over to this Loon Woman. Have you ever heard of Loon Woman?
I think.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, a favorite. We're in the Northern Tribes. See, it's all about women. A favorite of the Northern Tribes was the myth of Loon Woman, who was said by some myth tellers to have been responsible for the world fire. Never heard of the world fire. Have you?
Keep going.
Okay. As the story opens, she stands at the edge of a pool, fascinated by the sight of her long hair flowing on the surface. She saw a hair. She took it up, looked at it, looked at the hair, one hair. She looked at the hair she had found. Whose hair? I want to know. She looked at it long, looking at the hair, one long hair. The woman thought, whose hair? She thought, notice the repetitive, like style in the passage from Winter Variant. Returning home with her find, she compared it to the hair on her eldest brother's head and fell hopelessly in love with him. Without revealing her secret, she arranged to have this brother accompany her on a camping trip. And during the first night, she crept next to him where he lay sleeping and wrapped her arms around his body. The brother, who woke first, applauded that he was lying in his sister's embrace. Careful not to wake her, he freed himself and put a rotten log in his place. Then he ran home, bringing the awful news. To escape the horror, everybody jumped into a basket that was supposed to carry them to the sky, warning each other not to look down or the basket would fall. By the time the sister had awakened, she rushed home, saw the rising basket, and in a fury set fire to the family's lodge, or to the whole world, according to some. While the basket was still rising, Coyote peered over the edge. The basket fell, and the family was burned to death in the flames. Well, I'll leave it up to Coyote, right?
Yeah.
When the ashes had cooled, the sister gathered up the victims, blackened the hearts in order to wear them as a necklace. And from this comes the blackened neckband of the common loon. Notice that Coyote seems to be the member of the family. In the words of an Akorami storyteller, humans in the full sense of the word were not created until after the world had been spoiled by that crazy woman, Loon. So there you go. So that was my other woman story. I don't know if I got any more woman stories, but we got stories tonight. Okay, this is kind of a woman story. Okay, this is about Lakota children. Okay, excuse me. Oh, we got a lot of people piling in. Oh man, Delaney Pearl Jones, hello, Elderberry, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
He says, want to think that was a little loony. Yeah, there you go. Regine Hutchinson, thank you for coming. Greetings to this pleasant evening. Greetings. Mossy Man's in the house. Yeah, I'm sure there's other people listening too. Susie Q and Desert Rose. Okay. Anyway, I hope you're all enjoying. Okay, this is the one. It says, little children were taught to give and to give generously. A sparing giver was no giver at all. Possessions were given away until the giver was poor in the world of goods and had nothing left but the delight and joy of pure strength. When mothers gave food to the weak and the old, they gave portions to their children at the same time, so that the children could perform the service of giving and with their own hands. Little Lakota children often ran out and brought into the teepee an old and feeble person who chanced to be passing by. If a child did this, the mother must at once prepare food. To ignore the child's courtesy would be unpardonable. But it is easy to touch the heart of pity of a child. So the Lakota was taught to give at any time and all times for the sake of becoming stronger and brave. The greatest brave was he who could part with his most cherished belongings and at the same time sing songs of joy and praise. It was a custom to hold giveaway dances and to distribute presents that were costly and rare. To give is the delight of the Lakota. I thought that was really interesting. Give, and be happy. And you know what? That has something to say about the world we live in, you know, because we're so consumed with all our stuff. I don't want to give stuff away. You know, I'm kind of greedy.
Yeah, because basically it is all about mostly it's about greed. How much can you attain or gain or whatever? It is basically about abundance. Oh, well, we all want abundance, but there are folks who are like, but you know, do you have everything that you need? Well, do you have everything you require? Yeah, but I really like to have a lot more. You know, that abundance sure is fun, you know. And what it basically amounts to is greed, you know,
Yeah.
and for those folks who take it, you know, too far.
Oh, absolutely. And you can see, I mean, think about all those guys out there that are billionaires, you know, and they're building things, rockets to go into space or giant clocks because, you know, they just want a giant clock. Or what was it? Which guy was it that just recently he had a ship and they're tearing down some historic bridge so that his ship can go down the canal or the river or whatever it is. I
Oh,
forget.
is that what it was?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear the whole story, but wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
You know,
So how much money does these people have? You know, I mean, oh my gosh, if that was me and I built a boat and I wanted to get through, well, you know what they would have told me? Well, disassemble your boat and move it around. Not we're going to disassemble the historic bridge and then let your boat through.
right.
I mean, you know, that ain't the way the world works. If you're rich, you can do anything you want. You know, I mean, how many times have these guys from Facebook and Google and, you know, you name it, been called to Congress, and then they answer a few questions and it's like, shame on you. Why is your company stealing all the information of the American people? I just seen one there about the Zuckerberg guy. And Congressman says, do you mind telling everybody where you stayed last night and which hotel? How about where you're going to go? Or, you know, tell them all your names, who you called today, your names and contacts in your phone. He's like, no, I'm not telling you all that stuff. And he says, but every day your company steals all that information from every person that's on your your service or whatever. Well, you know, he's like, well, they signed up, too bad.
Right.
What are you going to do about it? You know, that's what we do. We steal your information, basically. That's what we're here for.
And anybody who uses an application or anything like that to go, well, they just don't have the right. Hang on, you never read the EULA, probably, that end user license agreement, EULA, right? And so here's the thing, at most of the time, as soon as you agree to use it, you've agreed for whatever it's doing. So so you go, well, they don't have the right. You gave it to them because you're using their product. But it ain't right. No, I'm sorry. You signed up, you used it, and now is it like in the long run, is it right? Is it for these folks to be doing? No. But why would you expect that somehow they're going to treat you with respect and honor? They've never done it before, so why should they start now?
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, what was it? There was this show, Sliders. I don't know if you're watching.
Right. Yep.
And they had on there, it was called The Lottery. It was one of those shows. I love that show, but it was called The Lottery. And the one girl won, and she's like, and they're giving her money, and they're, you know, whatever you want to do, and blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, you have to go in this box or whatever, and you get killed. It's to reduce population.
Right.
But you get to have, you know, 10 days of the most fantastic fun you'd ever have and all the money you'd ever want to spend. And, you know, you can pay your bills off and do these things and treat your family and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of you got to die, you know, and it's like people, I wonder how many people nowadays would sign up for that kind of stuff. You know, you know, but that's the thing. They're basically saying, like you said, here, sign up for this stuff. We're going to steal everything about you, sell all your information to other people, countries. We don't care who it is. And you just keep posting stuff. And if you get out of our guidelines, we're going to kick you out because we'll get somebody else in if you don't behave, give us more stuff. Here,
Because
sign up
there
for
are
this stuff.
because there are millions of people willing to just do it,
Mm-hmm.
And so years ago when I quit using Facebook, when folks are still, well, they don't have the right to do this, I realized, oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah, they do. I'm
They
sorry,
do.
whatever you put on their platform, just like, we love YouTube, and thank you, YouTube, and thanks, Bob, out there for keeping us live. Y'all remember Bob, say hi and thanks and coffee. But our resident AI. But for folks who in this day and age think, oh, well, all of my information is like preserved. I'm sorry. What? That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm.
I just laugh. Come on now, pay attention.
That's right. We got Satyrian Sun in the house. Thank you for coming. And the way, Pamela Jean, how you doing?
Hey, the way, and everybody.
And Karen Lynn. Karen Lynn's in the house. Yay! We got all the way says license comes from the root word licentious, meaning sexually and morality deprived criminal. Oh, well, whew, that's crazy.
I got a license to drive my vehicle and have sex, I guess.
Something like that.
Who knows?
Okay, back to the woman thing. Okay, so this kind of applies. This is kind of it comes from this book here. American Conversations, Indian with chasing, or American Indian Prophecies, Conversations with Chasing Deer. That's where this book comes from. So anyway, so these are tidbits I picked out. I mean, the book is really long and it just talks about, chasing deer and all that, but he has some really cool things. He's talking to his grandson, and a lot of this stuff comes from them and his wise words. And I think he has wise words. So I kind of skipped to the end of the book and we're reading his wise words. He says, this is from Lakota Luther Standing Bear. Today, mother power is weak, scattered to too many places, taken over by the preacher, nurse, lawyer, and others who superimpose their will. This loss applies also to the white mother, for she too is blinded and confused by the intricacies of society in which she lives. And the incongruity of it all is that the child has not become individualized, but has become stamped with the ideas of others. Few today are the youthful individual thinkers and doers who dare step out of the ranks. Ranks close about them, which try to force them to conform. This process was not possible in Lakota society. In tribal times, the Indian mother pointed the way, but she followed in her son's or daughter's path. She did not take from, but rather added to the strength by urging it to express itself. And those words are so true. Isn't that right? I mean, we, as a society, the children are given to the schools and the teachers. They're given to all the they take them to church, the preachers, the lawyers, and and their ideas, especially at school, are imposed onto the child because you're the parent, and you're saying, well, I believe in the Constitution, and they're the teacher, and they're saying Constitution bad, blah blah blah, because it's old or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
well, here's a true story that happened just a couple of weeks ago. No names mentioned, but here in South Georgia, a good friend of mine, her daughter, I said, so how are things going with the schools and all, and how's your daughter and everything? And she goes, well, let me tell you what happened after the first of the year. And I said, okay, her and her friends who have been not wanting to wear the mask kind of thing. The teacher, right after the holidays, they were sitting around a table and said, "You four girls go to the office and get masked." And they looked at each other, and my friend's daughter said, "I'm sorry, but there is no mandate. And we choose not to wear masks. So we're not going to go to the principal's office and get one because we choose not to." And I was like, thank you, Jesus. 13-year-old standing up and going, "I'm sorry, but just because you want me to, I'm so proud." You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it starts with saying no, and saying no in a polite way, not like no.
Right, exactly. Because
you know,
I've known this child since she was born. And the thing is, the mother stands behind her, so do I. And if it ain't a rule and it's not the thing, because she said, well, there is no mandate, therefore we don't have to, to wear one. So, and she was flayed about it. And it was like the teacher could say nothing. So, but these young ladies in school have, oh my God. Is there hope for mankind? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's exactly it. Maybe this catastrophe we went through is, teaching the young ones to be that individual, like we were reading here. It's the, and what does it say? A child has not become individualized. It has become stamped with ideas of others. And maybe this is teaching the children that, my gosh, your ideas are really crazy. I can't even be a child. I don't want a part of this. I'm going to become an individual.
Right. And one of the things, this same young lady 2 years ago, in having this conversation with her myself, I was like, so what has this taught you? The wearing mask and the mandates and all that. And she says, it's made us very sneaky. And I said, what? She goes, well, how we can get away without wearing it or turning it to the side, or we got it on, but we got it down here. And, it's like, what? Now that was 2 years ago. Same young lady going, no, sorry, but it's not a mandate. But I said, but here's the thing. What did the wearing masks do to the children in school? It taught them to be sneaky.
Yeah.
What? I mean, that has like stayed in my head. Oh my God.
That is
we cool. are making our children sneakier because they don't agree or whatever it is, and they don't want to go along with it, but they feel like, they got to follow that role model person in charge thing. And now they're like, nope, sorry. It's lovely.
It is. It's very lovely. I love it. I tell you. Ooh, okay. Let's see. What did I get here? The Great Mysteries. Oh, okay. The Great Mysteries. Okay. The Great Mysteries lead us to one step at a time, each according to his or her own gifts. Your own is the law, and you have already made the decision to use the legal system to help your Indian brothers and sisters receive what has been promised to them. Whether you succeed or fail in the case you take on will not matter, or the cases you will take on will not matter as much as your intention to help the sacrifices you will make in doing so. Intention, as we have spoken of, is the matrix of manifestation. It creates an energy in the spirit world that calls to it the circumstances needed. This is a prayer in action. Human beings are blessed only rarely with far-seeing vision. Grandson, for the most part, we see only what is before us. So when you have an intention that does not seem to come to fruition, have faith that things are working as they should be. You have put energies into the motion that will work in their own time. Through many people and through unforeseen circumstances, life is like that. Most of what really happens is hidden from our view. This is why people often think that prayers are not answered, but each one is, according to its wisdom, greater than our own. I thought that was really was good.
Now, when was this written?
This, let's see what it says. It's a fairly new book, 1998.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah,
That's still over 20 years ago,
yeah,
25 years ago.
but I still think that was a pretty good, bunch of stuff we got going on there.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I was just curious as to how old the stories are,
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Okay.
I picked that book up on eBay a while back, and I thought that, well, I picked up a lot of books, figuring that some of them are going to have some really good stories in there or some good information, and stuff like that. And some were, and like that Wolverine one, man, it's hard to pick out a story there that isn't really nasty. Either it's, yeah. Anyway, I'll have to go on the X-rated channel to read them stories. Oh, yeah. Pamela Jean says, set the intention and do not dwell on it. It works. Absolutely. She says, I use intention a lot. Yes, that is Centurion Son's got to go. Good love that way. See you later, Centurion Son. Have a good night. Thank you for coming. Anyway, what do you got tonight? Where am I going?
Tonight just seemed like it was all over the place. I'm trying to, like secure, like a particular theme or whatever, but it just seems like it was similar in my stories in that it seems like there's women in it, as far as that goes. All right, let me give you the page here. 264.
Okay, hang on. I gotta get that pulled up. Pamela Jean says, Ernest Holmes is a good read about intention. Okay, just a second, Pamela Jean. I'm writing this down. Holmes. Thank you much, Pamela Jean. I enjoy good tips on good books with interesting people. Okay, what page? 260? 264. Ooh, that's a little bit too far. 9. $245. What's it called?
Where the girl saved her brother.
Come on. 3. Oh, here we go. All righty. Share screen. There we go. And voila, just like that, we're in business.
Ooh, that's good size too.
Yeah.
All right, let me copy up.
That's perfect.
Okie dokie.
All right.
Where the girl saved her brother, Cheyenne. In the summer of 1876, the two greatest battles between soldiers and Indians were fought on the plains of Montana. The first fight was called the Battle of the Rosebud. The second, which was fought a week later, was called the Battle of the Little Bighorn, where General Custer was defeated and killed. The Cheyennes call the Battle of the Rosebud the fight where the girl saved her brother. Let me tell you why. Well, 100 years ago, the white men wanted the Indians to go into prisons called reservations, to give up their freedom to roam and hunt buffalo, to give up being Indians. Some tamely submitted and settled down behind the barbed wire of the agencies, but others did not. Those who went to the reservations to live like white men were called friendlies. Those who would not go were called hostiles. They weren't hostile, really. They didn't want to fight at all, but they wanted was to be left alone to live the Indian way, which was a good way. But the soldiers would not leave them alone. They decided to have a great roundup and catch all hostiles, kill those who resisted, and bring the others back to the agencies as prisoners. 3 columns of soldiers entered the last stretch of land left to the red man. They were led by General Crook, Terry, and Custer. Crook had the most men with him, about 2,000. He also had cannon and Indian scouts to guide him. At the Rosebud, he met the United Sioux and Cheyenne warriors. The Indians had danced the sacred dance. The great Sioux chief and holy man, Sitting Bull, had been granted a vision telling him that the soldiers would be defeated. The warriors were high in spirits. Some of them belonging to famous warrior societies had vowed to fight until they were killed, singing their death songs, throwing their lives away, as it was called. They painted their faces for war. They put on their finest outfits so that if they were killed, their enemies would say, "This must have been a great chief. See how nobly he lies there." The old chiefs instructed the young men how to act. The medicine men prepared protective charms for the fighters, putting gopher dust on their hair or painting their horses with hailstone designs. This was to render them invisible to their foes or to make them bulletproof. Brave Wolf had the most admired medicine, a mounted hawk that he fastened to the back of his head. He always rode into battle, blowing his eagle bone whistle. And once the fight started, the hawk came alive and whistled too. Many proud tribes were there besides the Cheyenne, the Hunkpapa, the Minkajoho, the Ogalla, the Burning Thighs, the 2 Kettles. Many brave chiefs and warriors came, including 2 men, White Bull, Sturdy Moccasins, Little Hawk, Yellow Eagle, and Lame White Man. Along the Sioux was the great Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull, their holy man, still weak from his flesh offerings made at the Sundance, and the fierce Rain in the Face. Who can count them all? What a fine sight they were. Those who had earned the right to wear war bonnets were singing, lifting them up. 3 times they stopped in their singing, and the 4th time they put the bonnets on their heads, letting the streamers fly and trail behind them. How good it was to have been to see this. Crazy Horse of the Ogalla shouted his famous war cry, "A good day to die and a good day to fight. Cowards to the rear, brave hearts, follow me." The fight started. Many brave deeds were done. Many coups were counted. The battle swayed to and fro. More than anybody else's, this was the Cheyennes' fight. This was their day. Among them was a brave young girl, Buffalo Calf Road woman, who rode proudly beside her husband, Black Coyote. Her brother, Chief Comes in Sight, was in the battle too. She looked for him and at the last saw him surrounded, his horse killed from under him. Soldiers were aiming their rifles at him while their Crow scouts circled around him and waited for an opportunity to count coups. But he fought them off with courage and skill. Buffalo Calf Road Woman uttered a shrill, high-pitched war cry. She raced her pony into the midst of the battle, into the midst of the enemy. She made the spine-chilling, trilling, trembling sound of the Indian woman, encouraging her man during a fight. Chief comes in sight, jumped up on her horse behind her. Buffalo Calf Road Woman laughed with joy and the excitement of battle. And all the while she sang. The soldiers were firing at her, and their Crow scouts were shooting arrows at her horse, but it moves too fast for her and her brother to be hit. Then she turned her horse and raced up the hill from which the old chiefs and the medicine men were watching the battle. The Sioux and the Cheyenne saw what she was doing, and then the white soldiers saw it too. They all stopped fighting and watching the brave girl saving her brother's life. The warriors raised their arms and set up a mighty shout, a long undulating war cry that made one's hair stand up on end. And even some of the soldiers threw their caps up in the air and shouted, "Hooray!" in honor of Buffalo Calf Road Woman. The battle was still young. Not many men had been killed on either side, but the white general was thinking, if their women fight like this, what will their warriors be like? Even if I win, I will lose half of my men. And so General Crook retreated 100 miles or so. He was to have joined up with Custer, Old Yellow Hair, but when Custer had to fight the same Cheyenne and Sioux a week later, Crook was far away and Custer's regiment was wiped out. So in a way, Buffalo Calf Road Woman continued that battle too. Many who saw what she had done thought she had counted the biggest coup of all, not taking life, but giving it. That's why the Indians call the Battle of the Rosebud the fight where the girl saved her brother. The spot where Buffalo Calf Road Woman counted her coup has long since been plowed under. A ranch now covers it, but the memory of her deed will last long as there are Indians. This is not a fairy tale, but it sure is a legend. Told by Richard Strangeowl, Brittany, Montana, with the assistance of 2 or 3 others, recorded by Richard Erdos. Doesn't give the year though.
Wow.
So,
that was
good.
Good.
Kind of being with women, imagine that what General Crook, it's like Crook, he's going to steal the land away from the Indians. I just found that, trying not to think about it when I was reading it. General Crook, there to kill the Indians and steal their land. Anyway, but that it was true that, there are lots of stories about, the famous chiefs and so forth. But, the women, they fought like hell when they might have not went into battle all the time, but if they were under attack, they fought.
Oh, yeah.
They ran and protected their children, but they were good with bows and arrows and stuff like that. They had to be, Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. I wonder how many women here could give out a war whoop. Come on, Chloe. I want to hear your best. Come on. I'm listening. Give your best. Woohoo! Hey, Lucky Smith. Scratch, how you doing? Yeah, come on, Susie Q. I know you got grandkids, but you can give out a war whoop. Woohoo! Woohoo! Anyway.
There too, I've been at powwows and stuff, as I've said before, but there are those dances and stuff that the women do where they do this trilling, and I can't do it. But when, a couple with the right pitch, it's really loud. But when you get 20 or 30 women who are doing it together, it's really loud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, the first time I heard it, I was like, whoa. So, but if there were hundreds of women, or whatever, and they started I could hear it. It's sort of like in the days during the Civil War, the rebel yell by the Southerners scared the pants out of the Northerners.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, they were like, oh, no matter what, these guys are coming at you. Holy crap.
Well, and isn't that the thing? That was like years back. I mean, I watched some of the stuff and they had the war drums, you know, boom, 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 you know, and you hear that in the distance. It's like, you know, that's enough to creep you out, you know. Oh my gosh, the war drums are coming, you know, boom, 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 you know, or you know, they start hooping and hollering and it's like, well, you know, you get a lot of people hooping and hollering and they're all over, say in the woods or something, kind of disorients you.
Yeah. Well, and here's something too. I mean, in thinking about that, you know, there were the Berserkers back in the day of the Vikings.
Oh yeah, I read about that. Yeah,
you know, going way back, and you know, the stories of the Berserkers, and like, oh man, you just, you know, the bloodlust that they had, and it was like they'd kill one or two, and for every one they killed, they'd just go even more berserk and screaming and the war cry and okie dokie, you know. But also in World War II with the cry of the Japanese with Banzai. That was a, you know, to hear the Marines and so forth on the islands, you know, to hear them come out of the caves screaming Banzai, they said, you know, would just send a chill up your spine, no matter who you were or how strong you were, or whatever, when they come at you and screaming Banzai. And I think there were similar things with the during the Vietnam War as well, but so that hollering and screaming, you know, will terrify you.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I speaking of the Berserkers, I read, I don't know where the story is right now or which book it is, but I was reading about that, and it was the story about the one Berserker that, you know, gave these guys that mythical, you know, craziness, and it really only takes one guy to do that, to instill fear on everybody else. And he had an axe or whatever it was that he wielded, and so his band or group of guys was running and away, and they had to cross this bridge, and he said, you run across, it's one of them classic tales where you run across the bridge and I will keep them at bay so you can get across the bridge. And so he did, and he went all hoopla crazy like and screaming and yelling and whatever. And he went across, you know, he went out there and he killed 40 guys, you know, while, you know, he took many blows before they finally killed him off. But he took out 40 guys and all his guys got away. But I thought, wow, you know, that's just crazy. Killed 40 guys, one guy. And then, you know, stuff like that, legends are made of, like, oh my God, the Berserkers are coming and one guy can kill 40 of us.
Yeah, that goes back to, you know, other side of the world, but the Spartans and the 500 or the 300, you know, and the gladiator, the gladiators too, but the Spartans, and how brutal fighters they were, you know, and just, so there've been serious fighters over the many years. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to give you a page number, ain't I?
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
312. We're moving on down a little ways to the east side. It's a short story. The woman who married a merman.
Ooh.
Now it's interesting. I just want to point this out, that the Native American legends, not just stories, but legends, okay?
Yeah.
And there is a difference between legends and stories, because the legends are supposed to be based on fact versus the stories are just stories. You know, they're parables, if you will.
Yeah, like when you're talking about coyote and beaver and badger and bear and deer, and those are kind of like parables and myths, you know, myths, but they kind of remind you of real people that do crazy things that, you know, like you know what I mean? Some of the
Right.
stories, like Rabbit Boy. Remember Rabbit Boy? They chopped him up, and then he still came back. And
Yep.
then what's his name? The spider guy, Ikume or I can't remember. Ikume, yeah. He says, "Cut me up too." You know, I can do it too. Not so well. Ikume, yeah. Wasn't it?
But anyway, with that said, though, there were animals who married other different species, and you know, who married the moon, who married the sun, who married the stars. I mean, you know, it's interesting how nobody, over the years of listening to elders and so forth, I've not seen anybody go, "Oh my God, she married a butterfly," or you know, that's impossible, or whatever. They just go, "That's just a very interesting story, isn't it?" And nobody like, "Well, that's stupid. You can't marry a butterfly. You can't do it." You know, so it's like there is a respect, kind of sort of like Hans Christian Andersen and some of the stories, and you know, based on, you know, the Hansel and Gretel and stuff like that. But anyway, so people just go, "Oh yeah, that's a good story," and kids got lost in the wood. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, so but it's interesting that there are a lot of interspecies kind of entanglements, if you will. So I don't know where that goes, but their Native Americans just assume that it happens, and oh yeah, it did. So in current times, in the you know, genetics lab, it would be that man is tinkering with beast, and you know, that kind of thing, and the end result is called a chimera, right? It's an animal and a man or something like that. So but the legends go back so far, they understood that this was possible or something, and they accepted it for a long time. So anyway, just pointing that out, because the woman who married a merman,
all right,
in a, I'm gonna start again in case you do a short job with this one, okay? But the woman who married a merman, Kus, in a village named Takamiya, lived 5 brothers and a sister. Many men from different places wished to marry the girl, but she did not want to get married. It was her custom to go swimming every day in a little creek. One day, while returning from her swim, she noticed that she was pregnant. Her brothers demanded to know how it had happened, but she could not give them an answer because she did not understand it herself. She gave birth to a boy, a fretful boy, who cried all the time. They did everything to try and soothe him, but nothing worked. At their wits' end, her brothers finally told her to put the child outdoors. He immediately stopped crying. After a while, the mother went out to check on him and noticed, to her surprise, that he was eating a piece of seal meat, which someone had strung on a small stick for him. She looked around to see who could have done it, but nobody was there. When she took the child into the house, he started to cry again and would not let anybody sleep. So her brothers told her to take him out again and suggested that she hide and watch what happened. The mother lay hidden outside for a whole day without seeing anyone. Suddenly, turned towards evening, a man appeared and told her to follow him because he was her husband. At first, she refused, fearing that her relatives would not know where she had gone. But after he had promised that she would be safe, she took the baby in her arms and went with him. They approached the creek, and her husband told her to hang on to his belt and keep her eyes closed. Together they plunged into the water. Soon they came to the bottom of the sea, to a village inhabited by many Indians. Her husband was one of the 5 sons of the village chief, and the couple lived there happy and satisfied. The boy grew up, and like many boys on dry land, he loved to play with arrows. His mother would make them for him, meanwhile telling him that his uncles, who lived above the water, had lots of arrows. One day, the boy asked her to take him to his land uncles to get some arrows. The father objected to this, but he finally allowed his wife to go up alone. Wearing 5 sea otter hides, she started out early one morning. As soon as her brother saw her, they thought she was a real otter, and they began to shoot arrows at her from the shore. Having been hit repeatedly, the otter would sink, then surface again with the arrows gone. The otter swam up and down the river, and many people in canoes kept shooting at it, but nobody could kill it. Eventually, everybody gave up the chase except the oldest brother, who followed the otter until it reached the beach. Coming nearer, he caught the shape of a woman beneath the skins and recognized her at once as his lost sister. She told him that she had been the sea otter and showed him the arrows that the people had shot at her. I came to get them for my boy, she said. My husband is the son of the chief. Whenever the tide is low, you can see our house right in the middle of the ocean. She gave him the 5 sea otter skins, and he gave her as many arrows as she could carry. Before going down into the water, she told him, tomorrow morning, you will find a whale on the beach, right in front of your landing. And it happened just as she said. The whale landed on the beach, and the men divided its meat among all the people. A few months later, the woman came again to her relatives, and her brothers noticed that her shoulders were turning scaly and dark, like those of a sea serpent. She stayed a while and then returned to her water home, but she never came ashore again and was seen no more. Long afterwards, many sea serpents came into the harbor. Thinking they too may have come after arrows, the people kept on shooting at them. They never returned again. But every summer and winter, they would have put ashore 2 whales as a gift to their kinsmen above the sea, based on a myth reported by Harry St. Clair in 1909. Now, where they use the word myth is probably a legend, by the way.
Yeah, myths and legends are close to the same, kind of close to the same thing. I don't know. Is a myth mythical, like, or is a legend something that might have been kind of real?
Yes, but here's the thing. There's a lot of I was enthralled by Greek literature back when I was a youngin' and going, in grade school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Iliad, the Odyssey by Homer,
Mm-hmm.
and all the stories of of the gods, and and the war with Troy and the whole 9 years, and then the perils of after the siege of Troy. What's his name trying to get home? Not Hercules, but anyway.
Poseidon's the god.
That's the Roman, of the
Odysseus. No.
Odysseus. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
that's what I knew.
That's him.
There's so many.
But to the point, though, they have found out over the many years that there's some truth to some of that, so they call it a myth.
Mm-hmm.
And in native terms, it would be a legend, because there's some basis of fact to it. Whether anybody wants to believe it or not, it's like okie dokie. But so a myth, in my humble opinion, is not just a story. It is based on some kind of factual story or something, whether true or not, but there's a basis to it. You know, two guys sitting around for a fire just didn't make it up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Besides, like you said, and if you get in the northern areas, you got a lot of downtime. You got to tell some stories to keep busy.
Well,
you got one more, and then yeah, one more maybe.
I lost my page.
Well, you tell me where we're going, and I will get there in a hurry.
I've read that one before. That one's a little dirty. That one's a little dirty. You know.
I like the Wolverine stories. Ooh, that's a dirty book.
That one's a little dirty too.
I bet you people are all wondering what's in that Wolverine book. Well, that one I'll have to go for you know, yeah.
Whoops, that one's a dirty one too. There's one with Ictomi and a long thingy. So whoops. How did I get into that chapter? I had another one. Wait. Might be going the wrong way.
Oh yeah. I turned the page and I was like, Ictomi sleeps with his wife by mistake.
All right, here's one. Coyote fights a lump of pitch. 359.
Really close.
I wanted to read this one before, and I don't think I've read it before. I mean,
I don't remember
out
this.
loud.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
So first off, Coyote fights a lump of pitch. Now, for those of you who remember Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox and the Tar Baby. Now, there are a lot of people who have misunderstood the Tar Baby because the Tar Baby was pine pitch. It was tar, literally tar. Oh, but it was like, you know, they painted it black. So somewhere along the line, somebody's like, oh, you know, Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox, they did this Tar Baby and it's all about black people and stuff. Oh, the heck it ain't. It's about tar is black. It pine pitch has a dark brown color when it's, you know, so, but anyway, it's about being sticky. But anyway, so they've got a story about pitch where I'm not sure if he based the guy who, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who wrote the stories of, you know, Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, who was from Georgia. But you know, was his story based on an Indian legend like this one is where I was going with this.
Could be.
So, but anyway, Coyote fights a lump of pitch, White Mountain Apache. Even long ago, when our tribe and animals and birds lived together near white people, Coyote was always in trouble. He would visit among the camps, staying in one for a while and then moving on. And when he stayed at Bear's Camp, he used to go over at night to the white man's fields and steal the ears off the wheat. When the white man who owned the farm found out what Coyote was up to, he trailed him long enough to locate his path into the field. Then he called all the white men to council, and they made a figure of pitch, just like a man, and placed it in Coyote's path. That night, when Coyote came back to steal wheat again, he saw the pitch man standing there. Thinking it was a real person, he said, "Gray eyes." He always talked like a Chiricahua Apache. "Get to one side and let me by. I just want a little wheat." Get over, I tell you. The pitchman stayed where he was. If you don't move, Coyote said, you'll get my fist in your face. Wherever I go on this earth, if I hit a man with my fist, it kills him. The pitchman never stirred. All right, then I'm going to hit you. Coyote struck out, but his fist stuck fast in the pitch, clear to his elbow. What's the matter? Coyote cried. Why have you caught my hand? Turn loose or you'll get my other fist. If I hit a man with that one, it knocks all his wits out. Then Coyote punched with his other fist, and this arm got stuck in the pitch also. Now he was standing on his two hind legs. I'm going to kick you if you keep holding me up, and I'll knock you over. Coyote delivered a powerful kick, and with his leg went right into the pitch and stuck. He kicked, and his long leg stuck in. Oh, this other leg is still worse, and you're going to get it, he said. He kicked, and his leg stuck into the pitch. Now, Coyote's legs were fast in the pitch, only his tail was free. If I whip you with my tail, it would cut you in two. So turn me loose. But the pitchman just stood there. Coyote lashed the pitch with his tail, and it got stuck also. Only his head was free, and he was still talking with it. Why don't you hold me this way? I'll bite you in the neck and kill you. So you'd better turn me loose. When the pitch did nothing, Coyote bit into it and got his mouth stuck, and there he was. In the morning, the farmer put a chain around Coyote's neck, took him out of the pitch, and led him to the house. This is the one who's been stealing from me, he said to his family. The white people held a meeting to discuss what they should do with Coyote. They decided to put him into a pot of boiling water and scald him. So they set the water on to heat and tied Coyote up at the side of the house. Pretty soon, Coyote saw Gray Fox coming along, loafing around the farmer's yard, looking for something to steal from the white men. Coyote called over to him. My cousin, he said, there are lots of things cooking for me in that pot, though, of course, the pot was only heating water to scald him in. There are potatoes, coffee, bread, and all kinds of food for me. I'll soon be done, and the white people are going to bring them to me. You and I can eat them together, but you must help me first, he said. Can you put this chain around your neck while I go and urinate behind that bush? Fox agreed, and taking the chain off Coyote, put it on his own neck. As soon as Coyote was out of sight behind the bush, he ran off. After a while, the water was good and hot, and the white men came out to Gray Fox. He seemed so little. What happened? He must have shrunk, I guess, they said. They lifted him up and threw him into the pot. Now, the hot water boiled his hair right off, leaving Gray Fox bright red and hairless. They took off the chain and threw him under a tree where he lay motionless until evening. When it got dark and cold, he woke up and started off. After a while, Gray Fox came to Bear's camp and asked, where is Coyote? Bear replied that Coyote always went for his water to some springs above Bear's camp at midnight. So Gray Fox ran off to the springs and hid himself. Now at midnight, Coyote came out as usual to the spring, but when he put his head to the water to drink, Gray Fox jumped him. Now I'm going to kill you and eat you, the fox said. The moon was shining from the sky down into the water, and Coyote, pointing to his reflection, replied, don't talk like that when we can both eat this delicious ash bread down there. All we have to do is drink all the water and we can take the bread out and have a feast. They both started to lap up the water, but as soon as Coyote was merely pretending to drink, Gray Fox drank lots, and when he was full, he got cold. Then Coyote said, my cousin, some white people left a camp over here, and I'm going to look for some old rags or quilt to wrap you up in. Wait for me. So Coyote started off, and as soon as he was out of sight, he ran away. Based on Greenville Goodwin's version in 1936. I'm sorry, 1939.
I thought there was more to it almost. I thought he ran away and did, he just ran away.
He just ran away like, you take the blame, you scalded dog, bye-bye. And, Coyote was, he got his lumps, but, and always getting in trouble. But it always seemed that somehow in some of these stories, he always dragged somebody in with him, somehow.
Yep.
But so anyway, how's that for an ender?
That is great. That is good. So then the big question is, did you pull a card?
Oh, not yet.
Oh, not yet. Pull a card.
Whoa. Yeah, not yet. Oh, drat. Oh, I bet one of the cards backwards. Oh my God, it's my porcupine card. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well and had a good Valentine's Day and so forth. And I talked to my sister up, today's her birthday up in Ohio. And she was like, oh, it's nice today. It was in the 40s and tomorrow's going to be in the 50s and then it's going to be in the 20s in 2 days. And I was like, she was like, you better enjoy that South Georgia weather. And it's like, I keep telling people that's why I live down here. We don't have feet of snow and all, Anyway.
Gotta enjoy that weather. I remember I was watching, I forget which YouTube channel it was, Full Spectrum Survival, and I commented on there and they were talking about homeless people, and I said, well, you don't have so many homeless in the northern areas. And I got really ridiculed by that because they were like, oh, there's homeless in the north. And I'm thinking, well, when it's 40 below, yeah, you might be homeless, but you're living in a camper or something. You're not living outside in a cardboard box. I don't see people running around here standing in front of a 55-gallon drum trying to burn and keep their hands warm in 40 below zero weather. And around here in this area, you could probably, be homeless, living in a vehicle or something and still be having a job and making money. But
right.
If it was me and I was homeless and I had no money or whatever, I would definitely make my move south where the nights aren't so cold and and I could survive with a blanket over me or maybe camp out or something on that order. I'm not stupid. I would say, better weather, fairer skies. And if I want, I'll come back to the north in the summertime where it's nice, but I wouldn't want to, I'm not going to battle 40 below zero and all of that. I'm going south, Arizona, or Florida or Georgia, or, Texas, right. Anywhere where, if it gets cold, you could get a little bit of heat and you could probably make it through the night instead of hypothermia or something. Hey, Gaza Calves in the house. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you. Good night, Desert Rose. Thank you for coming. It's been great. I hope you enjoyed the stories tonight, Desert Rose. You're welcome back anytime. Gaza Cav, I gotta have you back on the show. How you doing down there in the down under land? Gotta get you back on. Send me an email when you can come. I'd be thrilled. Day or night, weekend or whatever, doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter day or night. Your morning, it'd have to be your morning because I only have nights. I work all day. But anyway, got to get you on again. Yes, Scotty boy, common sense. Common sense. You know what? If I was really smart, I would find a way to get to Hawaii, and then I'd have a tropical paradise, picking pineapples and bananas off the trees, living on one of those Hawaiian islands, where the natives live or something,
Hawaii.
Pamela Jean must live in Arizona. She says, we're full up here. All the snowbirds are here. Yeah, see, they know where to go.
Yeah, see, that's like when I lived in Florida. And I'm looking for the book, by the way, if y'all are wondering. I got the cards, but I have moved the dead gum book. And that's what I'm looking for. I usually have it right here.
Gaza Cab says, I have vegetables growing out of my ears. There was so much this year. Great to know, because when summer comes our way, we get summer will be a good summer to grow stuff. And I'm growing a big ass garden this year. My rhubarb did real good. My potatoes did real good. And corn did so-so. The tomatoes they grew big, but they didn't get much red ones. So we're going to concentrate on some other things this year and grow a nice big garden. And I hope to give you updates all on my gardening stuff too. Guys, the Cav, I hope you've been taking pictures and making videos of your garden stuff, because I'd love to have you on and you can talk all about it, because you can talk in the winter about your garden stuff in the summer, because it'll be summer here and everybody will be watching. My blackberries, oh my God, they are absolutely vying this year. Wow, well, take some pictures and send them to me. I love pictures. Yeah.
And my wild blueberries are blooming all over the property.
Rhubarb pie. My grandma used to make rhubarb cake all the time. Oh man, and put that cinnamon sugar on the top, and I could not eat enough of that.
Rhubarb
yeah.
pie.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the message for us, I guess.
Yes. Message for us. I love it. What do you got? Who do you got?
Working on it.
Oh, okay. Susie Q loves rhubarb. I got rhubarb in the freezer, and I think I'm going to take out a package because that sounds really good. You're making me have a sweet tooth for rhubarb. Yummy, yummy in the tummy. I'll take some for lunch tomorrow. I make it up. I just stir it up in a pan. I put a little sugar in there, and I mix it up. I put it in a cup, and I have it with my yogurt in the morning. Oh,
yeah.
It's so
I found
good.
in going through my freezer that I got mulberries from last year. And I'm my mulberry tree is starting to bloom already. So it's like, maybe I need to eat last year's mulberries. I forgot they was there. So I need to make a pie or something. But anyway,
you're starting to have the tree bloom already, man.
It's starting. Yep.
Jeez.
It hadn't been cold enough this year, as much as it's been in the low 30s and upper 20s a couple of times. But you got certain varieties of peaches and things have to have so many cold hours, and we haven't had enough cold hours yet. And too soon it's blooming, it ain't even March yet, so
absolutely.
But anyway, so here's our cards. Amphibians, frogs and turtles. How about that?
Well, you had we did the serpent lady, went in the water. Kind of fits.
Yeah, right. The married a merman.
Married a merman.
And she didn't even know.
That's kind of strange.
Yeah, like, how did I get pregnant? I'm sorry. I didn't mean that to be demeaning, honestly. But
Witchy Moon's in the house. Hey, Witchy Moon. Thank you for coming.
Frog is number 38, and it's cleansing. And he happened to be in the upright position. Sing, frog, sing. Call the rains. Quench the dryness, cleanse the earth, then fill me up again. Frog sings the songs that bring the rain and make the road dirt more bearable. Sometimes it makes it worse, but turns it into mud. But Frog medicine is akin to water energy and the East on the medicine wheel. Frog teaches us to honor our tears, for they cleanse the soul. All water rites belong to frog, including all initiations by water. Water prepares and cleanses the body for sacred ceremony. It is the element we understand best in the womb. Frog, like ourselves, is a polywog in the fetal waters and only learns to hop after it experiences the world of fluidity. I love that, the world of fluidity. That there's just something about that. There's a lot to meditate on that. The transformation into adulthood prepares frogs for its power to call in the waters of the skies, the rain. And knowing the element of water, frog can sing the song that calls the rain to earth. When the ponds are dry, a frog calls upon the thunder beings to cleanse and replenish the earth with water. Like frog, we are asked to know when it is time to refresh, purify, and refill the coffers of the soul. If frog hopped into your cards you chose today, its ribbit may be calling you in the cleansing you need. If you were to look at where you are today, would you use any of the following words to describe your condition? Tired or overloaded, harried, frustrated, guilty, itchy, nervous, at a loss, empty, weakened, or whatever. If so, take a break and allow yourself to bathe in the waters of frog medicine. This could mean a long, relaxing bath, disconnecting the phone, yelling stop, or taking a deep breath, deep cleansing breaths. The key thought is to find a way to rid yourself of distractions and to replace the mud with clear energy. Then replenish your parched spirit, body, and mind. An ability frog medicine people is to give support and energy when it is needed. A frog medicine person can clean negativity from an environment. Many mediums or clairvoyants who work with cleansing haunted houses carry frog medicine. Many of the world's seers use water on their hands when tapping into other realms of reality due to water's superconductive nature. In Mayan and Aztec shamanistic practices, the shaman places water in his or her mouth and sprays it over the body of a patient to clear away negative energy. This is done while holding the thought of frog firmly in the mind so that healing may occur and the patient may be replenished with positive energy. Sometimes dried and stuffed frogs are also used to guard the person's body during the session. Frog speaks of new life and harmony through its rain song. The deep tones of frog's ribbits are said to be able to call the thunder beings, thunder, lightning, and rain. The ribbit is the heartbeat that comes into harmony with Father Sky and calls for the replenishment needed. Call frog and find peace in the joy of taking time to give it to yourself. A part of this giving is cleansing yourself of any person, place, or thing that does not contribute to your new state of serenity and replenishment. They want me to read that last part. A part of this giving, of giving this cleansing to yourself of any person, place, or thing. So like last week, I was having issues with my starter and all that kind of stuff. And the guy at the thing that told me my starter was good, I should punch him, right? But, you know, in the cleansing, this is my example to y'all. You know, you cleanse yourself of any place, person, or thing that does not contribute to your new state of serenity. So don't carry stuff forward and, you know, whether you forget it, whatever, stop worrying about it.
You know what I love about frogs is I always know summer is coming, and it makes me feel really good inside when you can go outside and hear the frogs chirping, you know, doing their thing. And you know that no matter what, summer is on its way. It's like It's like when I was a kid, the swallows would come. And
Yep.
when the swallows come, summer is here. You jump up and down and woohoo, the swallows are back, because you knew the mosquitoes were coming then too. But
yeah, that's right. And something else, I mean, they don't make noise, but with the frogs and living in a swamp like I do, when the frogs go crazy, oh my God, you can't hear. I mean,
yeah, they get really loud.
Really loud, and it's like, and you can hear small little tree frogs that have a high pitch. There are the bullfrog. There's all there. If they all go chirping at once, there's probably 3 to 5 different species of frogs that are hollering at the same time. But anyway, so the next one is turtle, Mother Earth. Turtle, great mother, feed my spirit, clothe my heart, that I may serve you too. In Native American teachings, turtles is the oldest symbol for planet Earth. It is the personification of goddess energy and the eternal mother from which our lives evolve. We are born of the womb of Earth, and to her soil our bodies will return. In honoring the Earth, we are asked by Turtle to be mindful of the cycle of give and take, to give back to the mother as she is given to us. Turtle has a shell which is similar to the protection that Earth has employed for centuries as her body has been defiled. Mother Earth's protection has come in the form of earth changes. There's a lot of them still going on. New plant growth, spring's coming. The creation of new land masses by volcanoes and climate alterations. Like turtle, you also have shields that protect you from hurt, envy, jealousy, and the unconsciousness of others. I got to read this part again, okay? Because with turtle, this is a really important thing. Like turtle, you also have shields to protect you from hurt, envy, jealousy, and the unconsciousness of others. Folks need to think about that one a minute. You go, what? Unconsciously, somebody might be hate your guts. I mean, I unconsciously, if I was PO'd at the guy at the auto parts store, he wouldn't have known that I was mad at him. So it was it would have been an unconscious thing. So, but that's causing harm to someone when they really don't know what's up, right? So,
Yep,
but
yep.
in that though, we in general, there are folks unconsciously that might be happening to us. And it's an unconscious thought. Somebody's not directly trying to do you harm, but it still does you harm. Anyway, not to be scary, but turtle teaches you through its habit patterns how to use protection. If you are bothered by the actions or words of others, it is time to go inside yourself and honor your feelings. If you are attacked, it is time to give a warning snap. If you have chosen the turtle symbol, you are being asked to honor the creative source within you, to be grounded to the earth, and to observe your situation with motherly compassion. Use the water and the earth energies, which represent Turtle's 2 homes, to flow harmoniously with your situation and to place your feet firmly on the ground in a power stance. Now, with that said, Turtle's upside down. Pulling the turtle card in the reverse means that Mother Earth is calling you to reconnect in some way. Mother Earth is calling you to reconnect in some way. If you have become flippant and forgotten to place waste in the proper place instead of throwing it out the car window, she is calling. If you have felt alone in your time of need, she is calling. If you have been struggling financially or have little to eat, or if you have desired a child and see no pregnancy in the future, she is your medicine. Use it. You are not alone, ever. You are a child of Earth. All acts of pleasure, joy, and abundance are given by the mother of the creative force. Use her energy to aid you, and you will be healed enough to share this energy with others. The idea of a turtle helplessly trying to right itself after it is flipped upside down can also symbolize contrary turtle. If you are not a victim, you are not helpless. Let me repeat that again. If you are not a victim and you are not helpless, no matter how much it may seem like this is the case in your present situation. You are not a victim and you are not helpless. Remember that, folks. Turtle, you need only list the things you are grateful for. And from that grateful place in your heart, look for the abundance of alternatives that Mother Earth gives.
That's right. Mother Earth gives you so much. I was trying to tell my one buddy that Earth is like she's a living organism.
Yep.
You know, you look at, you are on the back of you are a flea on the back of a dog. You know, to you, the strands of hair look like tree trunks. But if you look from higher, you can see it's a dog, right?
Right.
But and Mother Earth, you know, we look out, we see trees, we see this and that and the other. But we really don't see that waters move, and it's got lava that flows, and you got winds that blow and things that grow, and you know, all the things that would make a living being, you know, just in a different form. I mean, it's our opinion what living it really is. I mean, and a higher being, it could be anything, which, you know, constitutes a living thing, you know.
I've been in a lot of caves over the years, and there's one down here in South Georgia a lot of folks don't know about, and it's on private property, but I had been in that cave like 11 times. Mm-hmm. I mean, 2 times in 1 week we went in, because we were at the carnival and a bunch of us went down in the middle of the night. But anyway, you're a mile underground, more or less, and I mean not downwards, but you go down 75 feet, and then you go back into the, you know, into the hill and the limestone and everything. But when you go through the small crawly spots, you can hear the wind go by. Oh, mm-hmm. You can feel the breeze. So the further you go down into the cave in these little tiny crevices, you can feel the air go by. You can feel Mother Earth breathing, you know. Yeah. And people say, "Oh, she's not all that." Well, if you've been underground and have felt the breezes, you go, so where's this air, fresh air coming from? You're a half mile underground. Where's this fresh air coming from? It ain't coming from the ground, it's coming from the earth. And it's fresh and clean and, you know, full of water. Yeah. It's, you know, humidity is very high. Yeah. Unless you're in a dry cave. But anyway, so for people who have never experienced certain things, you know, the idea of Mother Earth being alive is a little far-fetched. But for those of us who've been in the ground and have felt the breeze and understand, you're like, I'm a mile underground and there's fresh air, you know. Okay.
Yeah, how is that? Yeah, explain that one. But anyway, it's getting a little late. Yep. We got to get ourselves motivated. It's been a great time. I thank everybody who came. Remember, we're all together and listening to this and learning, and I hope for all of you that watch it later that you get as much enjoyment as everybody here got out of it right away. And I love this, and hopefully I can break some of these little stories up later on, and we'll play them later in the Milky Way shorts. Now, don't forget, we got things going on. Maybe I'll be back this week. I'm trying to get somebody for Thursday night. I'm working on that. And if that all boils out, I'll be back Thursday. And of course on Saturday. And David, you're going to be on later tonight, or?
I'm not sure.
Or how's that going with the medicine wheel?
I need to do chapter 2.
Okay. I see you got a couple of them on there. It's usually kind of late,
Yep.
you know, I got it. I've been working a lot. I've been working long hours. So
Yep.
getting up early and working long hours. But anyway, that's that. Got a good weekend coming up. I ain't gonna even tell you, we might have a really special guest. But with all that said, remember, be the frequency you want to receive. I love you all, everybody. Thank you for coming. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Here we go.